What can you tell me about the Greek god Hermes?
History question.
I have absolutely no idea.
I will say the wrong thing. And then
Is that history?
Will be mad at me.
Did he carry cargo on his shoulders? I don't know. Pull a cart? Was he the god of goods?
He was tier
Hermes
1.
was the herald of the gods and considered the protector of the human heralds, so responsible for people traveling from one location to another and moving things around.
Perfect.
What's that? What was that? What is that?
The Hermes is RSI's first dedicated medium freighter. We were discussing new ships quite some time ago, and at that point we were developing the Apollo, and the Hermes seemed a natural chassis alteration for the Apollo series.
What do you guys feel about that? I don't know if that... I don't know, man. This feels kind of like the Prowler Utility, the Mantis, and the Raven. They all feel like ships that were kind of like not as popular as they could have been, but they had put a lot of work into them, so they wanted to give the chassis a new breath of fresh life. So they just made a new ship with a more popular gameplay for it. And this feels like kind of the same thing. I want to believe that they believe it's a natural cargo hauler. But I also am feeling like it's only a natural cargo hauler because this ship is twice as big as it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be 42 meters long, right? Like Spirit Zeus sized.
It seemed a natural chassis alteration for the Apollo series.
With the RSI Apollo, it was received very well in terms of its styling. And really what we wanted to do was take those visuals and just make it available for a new audience.
Exactly. That's what I mean. They really liked the ship. I think everybody really liked the ship, but it just wasn't really getting adopted that much. And then they released the Apollo and there wasn't much reason to have it. So I don't know. I'm just imagining, would they take something like, say, the Clipper and make a variant out of it? Or would that hurt the Clipper sales too much?
The main distinguishing feature of the Hermes is it has much larger, beefed up thrusters visually on the outside.
It needs a lot of power to move that weight around. One of the things we want to try and convey with this
Keep in
ship-
mind, Master Cheeks, as I'm seeing you're saying, I'm not saying this ship doesn't bang. I'm not saying this isn't a cool ship. Okay? I wanted an Apollo variant for a long time. I'm saying that the reason for the variant doesn't necessarily check out with me straight away.
was this idea that it had
I think
a
this
lot
is
more
a sick
strength
ship.
than what the base Apollo did. So if you look at the very top of the ship, you'll notice that where there's a big window in the Apollo, you're seeing much more of the kind of like the inner structure of the ship. So it's reinforced with large girders and these big metal plates that make it feel a lot stronger.
Whilst its official designation is a medium freighter, the Hermes is sort of internally often referred to as a sort of blockade runner. It is great performance in a straight line with those extra beefy thrusters. It has some good armor. Obviously the weapons are all upgraded compared to the Apollo series. It has 16 S2 missiles. It can pack a punch while providing very competitive SCM and nav speeds at the expense of some maneuverability. Inside, the front half of the ship shares virtually everything with the Apollo series, and that is your bridge and habs and component room, but the back half is a completely different story.
Wonder if it could have just been a modular ship. Why not make this a mini galaxy? Oh, because they had already made the concept. Right. They had already made the concept for the Apollo, so they had to go through with the design.
Pretty obvious that things have changed. It basically strips out any of the interior that isn't essential to the ship's flight and replaces it with a large cargo space.
Capable of holding 288 SCU, and that includes being able to hold the 32 SCU crates.
It's an amazing...
there isn't a lot of
like, that's an amazing idea for a ship. It's just a massive cargo hold. I love that.
ships in that 200 to 300 SCU cargo range. You have the Raft series that's down at 192, and then you have sort of the Caterpillar series that is 500 plus. There isn't really many ships in that middle zone. The Hull B is moving up to 512. That was sort of the closest.
Star
But of course,
Lancer?
the Hermes carries all of its cargo internally compared to, say, the Hull series, which has it all external and much more vulnerable.
One of the things we realised when we were developing the ship was having a cargo space that is quite short but very wide, and then trying to bring the cargo into the space was quite difficult. So our design team came up with this idea of having this tracked beam that ran on a rail through the centre of the cargo space.
Dude, that doorway's tiny.
On a rail through the centre of the cargo space. And that really allows you to be able to pull that cargo in quite easily.
That is cool. That is very helpful. But the door is small, man. Oof.
And the tractor beam can be controlled from either the co-pilot seat or a dedicated station at the rear of the ship. So if you've ever had problems playing cargo Tetris, then the Hermes might be the ship for
No,
you.
the rail stays internal. The tractor beam, it looks like, only goes till just about right here. I mean, that is a nice way that you can do it, though. You could just grab the box with the tractor beam and then slide it back so the box slides with you. But that's super... I feel like that's going to be slower, translating the rail back and forth to carry the boxes. Not how you have to do it.
So in terms of paints on the Hermes, the default paint is kind of a nod back to the Zeus CL, so another cargo ship from RSI. We thought it'd be nice to kind of continue that theme and that brand recognition across the cargo ships on the RSI lineup. The Apollo was quite a serious ship, so for the paints for the Hermes, we thought we'd have a bit more fun. We've got a nice two-tone black and yellow. We've got a purple, yellow and white. And because Jared cries when we don't, and is quite persistent at coming and appearing at my desk, we also did the disco paint that we did for the RSI Meteor. So it builds on that brand recognition, and it
does look nice. Yay!
This ship is obviously for those focused on cargo hauling.
To be quite honest, oh, dude, that's a small ramp, man.
But you can also fit quite a lot of our small
No, dude.
vehicles in there.
That's so small.
So it's a great little ship to reposition things around. Also,
part of me gets it. Like you want to, man. It is a class of ship. It's a small hauler. But I don't understand why you make the ramp small. You could limit this in so many other ways. Like if the worry really is about vehicles, I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. I don't know. If they made this before they made the Apollo, I bet this ship would be so well designed for this. But because they're trying to fit this into the Apollo's design, they're like, they're figuring out how to make it work. I know he said it was a natural idea for a cargo hauler, but it's crazy to me that, hold on, let's go to the ironclad reveal.
Accommodation in the rear sort of third of the ship. The front 2/3 is really just this cargo bay with the front entrance and a front ramp for loading and unloading cargo and small vehicles on the ground, as well as a retractable roof for doing that in space with EVA as well.
Little tight entrances to cargo ships doesn't necessarily lend itself to when you're out in deep space and you're trying to quickly move some cargo from one person's ship into your ship. Really, you want as much kind of access to be able to do that as you possibly can.
That's 2 years ago they were designing a cargo hauler and saying, the idea of getting cargo into a ship, you want the space to be as big as it can so it can get stuff in. So how come we're now in 2026 designing another cargo ship with a ramp this small?
Quite a lot of our smaller ground vehicles in there. So it's a great little ship to reposition things around. A lot of people have said that they love the Apollo's look, but don't like the medical gameplay. So this really is the ship for those people. It's fast, sleek, and is very just versatile ship. So I think people are going to enjoy it.
Beautiful, but painful. Honestly, it kind of hurts. Not because I don't like the ship. I love the ship. I think the ship is sick. Honestly, I'm not coming from this sucks for me, this makes my ships worse kind of situation. I'm going to use this ship. We're about to hop in game and play with this ship right now. I don't carry vehicles around a bunch. I like going around and carrying some stuff, but I like a good general size ship that I can take with my friends. So I'm betting the Hermes is going to be a popular choice for myself when it gets in game, but the way that it's being delivered and the reasoning for it, I think it's a slippery slope that we're slipping on. Like, we've seen it with multiple variants now, and I'm not saying those variants shouldn't happen, but a lot of times they're happening for ships that seemingly don't do well on their own chassis, and so they're making a new chassis for it. And every new ship they make is every little bit more of maintenance and upkeep they're going to have to do throughout the years past Star Citizen 1.0, as we're getting into the 3s, the 4s, the 500 series amounts of ships. Like, we aren't even hitting 1.0 and we're making doubles of different ships and variants of ships because their chassis aren't working as well, and I don't want them to get into a place where they have to spend half of their monthly income on employing people to keep their ship catalog updated. I would prefer if they had like, imagine if we had the choice of saying, CIG, you can have a dedicated team of employees for every star system to create the content, stories, and reputation for that given star system, or you could have dedicated ship teams for every ship to keep every ship up to date and highest amount of quality. I don't know what you guys would choose. I would choose the star system teams. And I would worry if they got to a point where they had to spend more time maintaining ships than developing the game. Not to say that we're close to that yet, but like, if you release a ship and it doesn't work, I don't know if releasing another ship with that chassis is never necessarily the best option.